this is Tina Rappe. Thanks for joining me in my Stampin' Studio. This is the card we're going to be making today, which is a Z fold card, and that simply means when you look at it, it's shaped like a Z, and then it opens like this. So let me show you what you need to make this card. We're going to start out with a piece of pink Pirouette cardstock, and this is 11 inches by 4 1/4, and I've scored it at 5 1/2 and 8 3/4. And then we have a piece of chocolate chip cardstock, and this is 4 by 4, and a piece of very vanilla, and this is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And we'll use a few scraps, a small scrap of Melon Mambo, another scrap of chocolate chip, very vanilla, and pink Pirouette. All right, so let's start stamping. On the piece of very vanilla, we're going to stamp, and we're using 2 stamp sets today. One is Work of Art, and we're going to use this swoosh image here. And the other one that we're using is Remembering Your Birthday. Today calls for something pink with sprinkles on top. All right, so with Melon Mambo and that swoosh image, I'm actually going to turn it this way. We're going to get that inked up, and I'm going to stamp it off and then stamp it down here towards the bottom. By stamping it off, it gives us a lighter image of the Melon Mambo. And then I'm going to take my paper snips, and if we look at the card itself, there's the swoosh, and we have it so that it's like the bowl that the ice cream is in, and these scoops of ice cream are actually tucked into the card. So the way that we do that, I'm just going to get the scissors here, and if you look, you can see like this line right here where there is no ink. That's about where we're going to cut it. So just carefully poke your scissor tips in there and cut along it. Don't worry about it having to be perfect, because the scoops of ice cream and everything else are going to hide any little imperfections. Okay, so we've got like that, right? And I'm going to stamp the words in chocolate chip ink. And the words, as I said, comes from Remembering Your Birthday. And this is going to get stamped right up here at the top, like that. Okay, next for the scoops of ice cream, I'm going to go to those scraps of cardstock, and I'm going to punch out some scallop circles with a 1 3/4 inch punch and with the 1 1/4, 1 3/4 and 1 1/4. So one of each in each of these colors. There we have those, and then let's get the smaller ones here. One more. There we go. So those are the pieces that we need. And then I'm using the Confetti Textured Impressions Embossing folder. And if you look at this one, you can see there's an oval part here in the middle where there is no image. We want the confetti images on here. So what we're going to do is, with the bigger ones, we're going to put those in the corner. And you'll find that it may not fit perfectly, but it's okay, because the ice cream scoops are going to fit inside that little slit. And so if some of it doesn't get an image on it, it's no problem. So I put the big ones in the corners and the smaller ones along the edges. I'm going to close this up and move my big shot over here. All right. So we make our sandwich with the base plate, the acrylic plate. Scoot that in here and run this through. So when I open it up, all of these little scallop circles have the texture on them. Now we're not quite done with the embossing folder and the big shot. I'm actually going to run things through again. Let's take a look at the card sample, and you'll notice here on this edge And here on this edge, we've got that same confetti border. So with the embossing folder, I'm going to go ahead and put it in here. Again, here's where the circle is, or the oval. I want it just up to that edge. So we're going to give it about 1 inch of texture on each of those edges. So let's run this through. Whoa. Good. Okay, so we've got that, and I'm going to flip it over here to the other side. We'll do the same thing again. And run this through. Good. All right, let me move my big shot out of the way. And so we have this. So here's where it was scored at 5.5, and then you're going to fold this one back, and that's what gives us that Z fold. Okay, so now we're going to take the scallop circles that we've embossed on, and we're going to go ahead and put it into the ice cream dish. So what we want to do for the bigger circles is we want to put the adhesive on the front side. Okay, so just like this, and then we're going to tuck it down inside here, and then we'll do the same thing with the others. Tuck that in, and this one. All right, so we have our first layer on. I don't worry about securing these down. I think it gives it a little bit of depth and dimension to it. Now on these smaller ones, we are going to go ahead and put the adhesive on the back sides of it. And actually I want to do the vanilla first, and then we'll tuck these other ones behind here. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a generous amount of adhesive to help hold all those ice cream scoops down. And we will layer this onto the piece of chocolate chip. Okay, then this is going to go on top of the card. Now, I don't want to go ahead and put adhesive all over the back of it like I normally would, because if I do that and stick it down, we're not going to be able to get that card open. So what I want to do here is I want to pop it up with a few dimensionals. I'm going to grab 2 and put directly on this fold. And then the other 2 are going to go right here. And we'll get the backs off those. Here we go. Okay, like that. We're almost finished. I'm going to use that scrap of Melon Mambo, and I'm going to use the tree builder punch. Now, if you look carefully at this, you'll see this image. I think it's actually supposed to be an apple, but I'm going to use it as a cherry on top of the ice cream sundae. So we'll flip this over, and just with a little strip, we're just going to make sure that we cut out that cherry. And to make it look a little bit more like a cherry, I'm going to use the chocolate chip Stampin' Right marker and just color that stem. Okay, and because this cherry is so tiny, we're just going to use a little piece of a dimensional. So I just cut a little chunk off of there. Oh, that's actually a little bit too big yet. We'll stick that on the back side. And we will put a cherry on the top of our ice cream sundae. And the last thing we have to do then is our sentiment on the inside. And we're back to the chocolate chip ink and the happy birthday from Remembering Your Birthday. Okay, there we have it. Really cute Z fold that goes like this. So I hope you enjoyed your visit today, and I'd love to have you come back another time. Thanks, and happy stampin'.